What's up YouTube? Welcome to this video. So the video is about updating the password of the user and the information which is associated with that user. And before proceeding, I would definitely recommend you to watch the previous videos in Firebase Auth playlist because each and every video is filled with a lot of different useful information which would benefit you if you plan to learn and use Firebase Authentication in your app. So, with that said, let us proceed with this one. So, previously we created these three pages and let's go through them just to take a quick rewind to what we did in our previous videos. So, firstly, I would go to the register and I would like to add one line that I didn't add it in the previous videos. So if a user is registered, then we should show a message that and let's see what this does. So this is the login page and we can go to the sign up page and we can create a new user. You can see that the message is showing. Now we can come to sign in and log in with this user. So you can see that my user is now logged in and I'm seeing a sign out button and a delete user button. So if I click this delete user button, it will ask for a password and if the password is correct, then it will delete the user. So this was our home page. We created the delete functionality and we also learned that why is re-authentication necessary for the user deletion process. So, as I said, each of the video is filled with a lot of different information. So, do watch the old videos. For this video, we will edit the home page and add update password button and then move on to a new page. Right here, I would add a link. We can say update new password and this link will have a button just like this delete button and this button can be secondary, so secondary color and info. Now we need to create a new page which would be called update new password and this will have the basic things that register HTML had. So let's copy the entire page and then I remove the unnecessary stuff. So let me remove these references. So the configuration will remain intact and the script for Bootstrap will remain as it is. We will remove this button and the first name last name for now. So we will change this register user to two more fields. The first one will be old password which is required for authentication, new password, confirm, new password. And we will also change the IDs and confirm password. And then we will have a button trial. It will float right and we will give it an ID of change pass button and it will say change password. And then we will have another set of form, another set of inputs, and this will have the information that we are saving within the database. So the first name is and the last name is the only thing that we are saving within the database. So this will be called change user information, and the button will say user info. Remove these placeholders, and this will be change user info button. So this form will look like this. We need some gap over here between the two forms, uh, some br tags, and this should be change user information. So now let's move on to the real deal, which is to set up the Firebase so that we can update the password. Now we need some other things, which are we need a DB reference. So our DB ref equals to the ref function and the DB inside it. Now we need the references of all the inputs that we used. Now what we need to do is we need to come up here, and we will disable all of the input. Why? Because till we get the information from the user, we need to keep this information disabled. So all of the information will be disabled. This button will also be disabled, and these two inputs as well. So we have this built-in Firebase function, which uh, uh, which is get auth, which gets us the information of the currently logged in user, and by that information we can fetch out the rest of the information. Because we are updating the password, we need the previous information of the users. We will be needing get from the Firebase app, and from the Firebase auth we need on auth state changed. We will also be needing update and child function, and here we will be needing. So this is it for now. Now first we will use the on auth state change function that will listen to the auth variables change, and it will have a an arrow function with the user's information, so that whenever this is populated, we will check that the user is populated. Then this can be old pass box. So here we can get the information from the database using the child function, which takes db reference, and we will copy this. So what we are doing is we are using the get function to get the information of the user from the database. So it is stored in this users auth list. Whenever we create a user, the database save its information inside the user auth list. This happened in previous videos. So whenever we register a user, we also name save its first name and last name, and this is the user's UID. So with this auth function, we are getting the user's UID, and then we are fetching the data from the Firebase database. So this is the plan. Now, dot then, when the data is fetched, take the snapshot is the shortcut of our data. So it's not the entire database, just the snapshot of the data that we referred to. So we are referring to only the user's data. So in this arrow function, we will get the value of the first name. So snapshot dot val first name. This should be exactly as within the database. Last name from the database. And now we will enable all of the input. So this is how you enable the input. Assign the disabled property false. So that enables the input. Now we will also enable the last name input. We will also give the value of the email user.email. So the credential will also have the user's email. So we will put it in the email box and we will never enable it because the user is updating his password and his information, so he can change the email. It's just for the showing. This input is just for showing the email. And we will also do one more thing. If the user is not available, so if the authentication function is ready and there is no user currently signed out, then just move to the login.html. So to save time, I will copy some functions from home, and they are the sign out function. And we must be careful that this is our sign out function and this is the sign out function from the Firebase. So it start with the small letter and then the capital letter. We also need the is null or white spaces function that we created. So now, first of all, it will authenticate that if the password. So we will check that if any of these are empty, then we will say fill all fields and return the function, so we won't proceed the function. Then we will check that if the passbox dot value, so the new password is not equals to the confirmed password, then we will say that. So before proceeding, we need two things. The first is we need the user object, which we will get from the auth dot current user property. And then we need credentials object, which will have the user's credential. So the credential object can be acquired from the function email auth provider dot credential. So there shouldn't be any s. This is just credential. And we will pass the user dot email. So we will receive the email from the user object, and we also need the password which we will receive from old password box dot value. And now we are ready to use the re-authenticate with credential function. And this function is required because the Firebase requires that before proceeding with any critical function such as delete or changing the password of the user, you must re-authenticate your user. So this is why these paperwork uh, is required. So now we will pass both of the object user and credentials. If the re-authentication is successful, then we will change the password using update password function from the Firebase auth library. So it will take the user and the new password from the input, and then in this arrow function, which will happen if the update password is successful, we will say password was updated, and then sign out this user. If there is a problem here, we will catch the error. So, and we will say that the password was not updated, and this is the definition of the error. We will also use this right here, that if the re-authentication itself fails, then we will say that. So now we will write the change user information function. So let us just copy this and change this to user info, and now we will check that the first input and the last input is not empty. Otherwise, we will say fill all fields. We don't need this, and we don't need this email auth provider. And instead of this, we will write the update function, which is from the Firebase database. So it will take reference db and the same thing as the same address as the get function. The information of the user is saved within the UID, and here are the first name and last name. So we are updating this folder, and we are providing the UID that we need to update this user on the Firebase database. And we are providing the data. First name will be updated to finput.value, and the last name will be updated to linput.value. So the new first name and last name. So if the user information updated successfully, this message will show, and if there is some problem, then the catch error will show up. Now let us test the functionalities. So let me sign this user out, and we will again log in with the user and the password. So we are logged in. Now we will go to the update user information and password. You can see that the email is there and it is disabled. And when I refreshed, all of the fields were disabled. But as soon as we got our data, our field were enabled. We can write the old password which was same as the email, and then I'm gonna write a 2, paste and 2, and change password. It's not working as expected because we did not assign the functions. So let us also assign the functions. So this should be change user information. So we did not change the name here. We changed the name of the button, but we did not update it here. These buttons are within a form. So if they are of type button, so that the form does not affect how the button choose to react on a click. So the button does not submit to the form. So now let's try again. 2, 2, change password. So it's saying password was updated. And now if I try to log in with old password, it's saying invalid credential. If I type 2 login, then you can see that the user is logged in with the new password. I can also update the information here. So it's saying updated successfully. If I refresh the page, then you can see that it's fetching out the right information. So this is all for the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel. See you next time.